Kia ora guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I know, it's been too long between full drive trips, too long since this thing has been running. It's been parked up since January when we got back from that big Christmas trip. Did about 2,000 k's in the old thing and a few repairs to be done after it, that's for sure. So the poor old thing needs some maintenance and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. First things first, we've got to see if it'll even fire up. The old starter motor is getting a little bit tired, so that is one of the jobs, but we want to get it in the shed. But before I do that, we want to just make sure the winch is still working, because this winch has caused me some problems over the years, and we rebuilt it right before the Christmas trip. However, there is a high chance that it has decided that it no longer wants to play ball and jammed all back up again. So we'll pull the truck out if it starts, hook up the winch and give it a wee test. Oh, there we go. Third try, I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that. Oh, listen to that belt squeal. That's one of the things we've got to sort. Yikes, there's a long list. That's why it's always worth checking your winch before going away on big trips. That really sucks though, it's one more thing to add to the list. Far out. So we've got rear pinion seal, panhard, the bushes are slogged, so we've got a new adjustable one. Now I've got to fix the winch, coolant lines, we've got to do the tidy up the ignition system, new belt tensioner, starter motor, oil change, viscous hub, bolt check and alternator, and I know there's more things than that because I remember counting 14 things and that's not 14 things. So yeah, we'll see what the other thing is when I remember. But yeah, I'll see if I can show you down here just briefly. So that there is the coolant line where the where the red tape with the zip ties are. That's silicone tape, and that managed to get us home a few hundred k's. Yes, I'll try to do this without burning myself, but you can also see down here. Oh, this is going to be bad. Also see down there that the it's hard to show you without hiding it. The belt tensioner is about to fall off. The alternator, well, that's just absolutely destroyed. You can, yeah, you've heard it running. The rear pinion seal let go, and the viscous fan hub we couldn't get a replacement in time for the Christmas trip, and basically it dumped all the fluid out of it so it wasn't locking up, so slapped a couple bolts through there to lock it to the crank of the motor, so as long as the motor's running the hub turns. However, hearing the fan running is quite obnoxious, so we'll get that changed over as well. So I don't know if you guys can see, but all around here is really wet, and when we got back from the trip there was a big fan of oil all around, up around there, from where it's basically just spun off the pinion and out. Yeah, definitely not ideal. So we'll get that pinion seal changed out. For those of you who are Land Rover owners, I highly recommend picking yourself up one of these. It's a specialty tool for getting to the 916 bolts. It just makes life so much easier than trying to use spanners or socket or anything. They're not expensive, you can get them from LR Direct, highly recommend them. Oh, far out, that is not good. And that is why you have to have a split pin in there. That is not good having the pinions nut that loose. Far out. That should not do that, guys. For those of you who don't know. And then this is the pinion flange. And then that is the pinion itself. And this is the seal that we need to replace here. Right guys, well next job is the viscous fan hub, and for that we're going to need this bad boy right here. This is a viscous fan hub removal tool which I made up myself. A few pieces of flat bar and a bit of plate and welded it all up, and this has been a lifesaver. It's just under 1 metre long, so heaps of leverage for when they get real jammed up, but this one's actually not been on that long, so hopefully it comes off alright. Hopefully we don't need to grab out the second one and we can just jam it with a screwdriver, so we'll see how we get on. So here's the hub, and as you can see it's leaked the remainder of the viscous fluid from around where these two bolts are that have locked the two halves together. Trick for young players, depending which model you have, you may have a left hand thread or a right hand thread, so make sure to find out if it's a left or right hand before you go starting to try and undo it. A long while back I completely mangled the end of my water pump trying to turn it the wrong way, and yeah, there was a new water pump involved, and that's not cool. So yeah, make sure you find out what yours has got before you go and do it. Mine's a V-belt with the left hand thread, so you do it clockwise to undo it. Anyway, here we go. Here is the new viscous hub, hopefully. So that will go like so. And there, we'll get that swapped out. And that, there we go. One absolutely destroyed one. As you can see there guys, those are the holes there and there where we've basically bolted the two sides of the viscous hub together. Now, we can chuck this one in. We tighten, and that is more than tight enough, because the way it works, as the engine turns, it self-tightens. So that is the viscous hub done. Let's go tick that off the list. Where is it? Viscous hub. So, here we go. The new tensioner with a nice fresh looking bearing. Here we have it. Oh, this is absolutely destroyed. Oh, look at all the rust and stuff that's come out of it. That is... Hold up, I'll chuck it in the vise for a sec. Don't be like me, guys. That is utterly destroyed. Look at the amount of play in there. And that's how it sounds. The exhaust is now cooled down enough that I can happily put my hands near the exhaust manifold to do the starter motor. And seeing as that's going to be an absolute game changer in an auto if the starter dies, I reckon we'll jump into that one next. One step closer to being on the coast. Oh dear, that is quite dirty in there, but just oil. I think the rear main seal's letting go on this thing. As you can see, starter motor's out. If you're wondering what these two are, these are wee drains. So we drill and tap holes, put barbs on, and then put drains so that any water that gets in can get back out. You're never going to be able to stop the water getting in, so you might as well try get it out. Here we've got a modified solenoid. These are non-rebuildable. However, we've figured out a way. Basically, we where is it? Somewhere we drill a wee hole and pump Vaseline into the top end of this, and then push the push the plunger in and out to clear the contacts. But that Vaseline waterproofs the top end of it. Then you can see we've run a bead of RTV around there, and that seals it up pretty well. And then any condensation can come out of there, but because there's a layer of Vaseline in there, it kind of gets you a little bit more life out of them. I used to go through a starter motor every, like 3 or 4 months. Oh, sorry, a starter solenoid. It was ridiculous. Whereas this one, as you can see by the absolute layer of filth, has been probably, a good, yeah, that is quite scungy. It's been in there for a good couple of years now. So yeah, we'll just swap the solenoids over and slap that all back in. There is a lot of oil out the back of the motor. I do think the rear main seal on the motor's letting go, which is a really sucky thing, because I was kind of hoping that motor would hang on for a little bit longer before something new goes in, but who knows. I really don't want to have to pull the motor just to do the rear main on it, because, I mean, the motor's pretty tired. It would be a lot of effort for a already pretty tired motor, but anyway, that's not today's concern. We'll swap that out and get that slap back in there. That's all ready to go back in. Another quick tech tip is, just a second. So this is the bolt that, these are the bolts that I use for the start of them, holding it in. From Land Rover, they came as Allen heads. They are an absolute pain to try and get out without like stripping the guts out of them and just rounding them off. So highly recommend, the first time you take it out, buy yourself some just standard bolts. Where did I put it? There. Just standard bolts, match the length and everything. It'll make your life so much easier when you next have to pull it out, because if you've got a disco, the starter's going to be coming out more than once. Right, truck's back on the ground. Now to see if the starter motor has done the trick, if it was the solenoid. 9 times out of 10 it is the solenoid, but hope it's not the starter. That's going to be a pain. See if it fires up first pop. Oh, now I have to turn the kill switches on. Oh. And it isn't squealing, that's like double win. Right, after some further consideration for the sake of the budget and time, I think the alternator will survive one more trip. Cut to next video when the alternator dies in the middle of the west coast. Hopefully not, but no, I'm sure it'll be fine. So for the time being, we'll just do a wee crisscross through that. We have now done the pinion seal, that's all back together, and we have also done the starter motor, which means we are running out of things to do slowly, which is a good thing. Bolt check is going to be the last thing. Oil change is tomorrow's job. Panhard is an upgrade, so I'll save that for the end because I'm excited for that. So we've got the ignition system and coolant lines. Coolant lines are an actual problem because right now it's being held together with silicone tape. Right guys, well it was a bit of a mission, but we've got almost all the hoses in. We're just going to pull the truck back in now that they're, mostly there. pull it in, try to keep some warmth in. So I think for this evening, yeah, we'll just finish this off, and then I'm going to pull the winch out so we can have a quick look at that. We'll pull the truck in and try to get it done, but I'll just quickly pop around here and I'll show you the old hose. So this is the silicone tape and zip tie repair that we did down in Twizel, and it actually held up very well. Did about another, probably almost a week of driving on it down in Twizel, and then drove home on it, so it survived. We just ran it with the overflow cap cracked so that it wouldn't pressurise the system too much, but yeah, made it home. Righto guys, so motor, winch is out, and just undoing the tie bolts for the motor, and we'll see how disgusting it's managed to make itself look in 3 months since we last did this. We've got the guts all out of it, and as you can see, these are the brushes, and they are completely solid. This one's got a little bit of movement to it. That one's moves but jammed, and that one solid. So when they get jammed up, they just stop putting power through, and yeah, quickly goes from a working motor to a seized motor. So yeah, Dad's gonna start pulling that all apart, and yeah, cleaning the brushes up, cleaning the brush holders up, and slapping it all back together. And it is a new day. Sunday, we've got the winch back together. Dad did a quick refresh on the motor last night, so we'll slap that back in and test it. We've just got to finish up doing the radiator hoses as well. Just got to chuck the coolant tank back in and last couple lines, and then fill the system, obviously winch, and then I'm thinking today I'll just do the engine oil change and the panhard rod, and the spark plugs and all that can wait until probably tomorrow. Well, I didn't bother filming because it's kind of boring, but done up all the hose clamps on the cooling system now, check tightened it, got the header tank back in. So yeah, that is that job all done. Just got to fill it up with coolant, obviously, but that's going to happen when I do the engine oil change, and yeah, I think next step is to biff this winch back in. Righto, so obviously winch is now working again, which is good to see. Next thing, and it's finally an upgrade, not a repair, we're putting a adjustable panhard rod in from Ramped Customs. So this one is an aluminium one. I think it's 7075, I think, don't quote me, but yeah, beautiful piece. Bush at the chassis end, Heim at the axle end, and your left hand thread at one end, right hand at the other, so you basically just turn it to adjust the length of it. So this is going to correct, because currently with the factory panhard rod, you can see we've got a little bit of poke this side, and you probably can't tell, but a little bit less poke on that side, which means the axle's actually swung over to the driver's side as the vehicle's been raised. So this will put it back in line, so we'll get everything squared up again. Yeah, beautiful piece of aluminium. The reason we've gone for aluminium is it's got basically it springs back. Steel, you'll bend it, whereas yeah, these alloy panhards and things like that, they're just bulletproof. They spring back heaps. Like, they use them on rock bouncers and things like that for the lower links. So I have no doubt that that's going to be more than strong enough. A lot of people would probably be like, ugh, aluminium, but don't worry, it's more than up to the task. It's yeah, it's a beautiful piece. So we'll get that slapped in and continue on. Oh yeah, look at that. There we go. The old panhard rod is out and next to the new one, so we'll have to just wind it out a little bit, just because the adjustable one's adjusted all the way in right now. So we'll quickly get it about right and then slap it in. We can make finer adjustments then. Righto, so I've dropped a bolt in here so that we know they're the same at one end, and then as you can see, just layered on top of each other. And I've got this one adjusted out just slightly more, so now we're just going to run the lock nuts back, but I'll do that once it's on the truck and we're happy with where the panhard's sitting. That looks absolutely awesome. Huge shout out to the guys over at Ramped Customs for making sweet parts. You may remember they're the people that made a lot of the mounts and stuff that we used on Humvee. Not that you can see any of them right now, but they did, I'll show you around. They did those coilover mounts. We've also got lowers from them. All sorts of cool gear. I'll leave a link in the description. Go check them out. They make all sorts of stuff. Bit of stuff for Land Rovers. Lots of stuff for 80 series, 105s and SAFs. So yeah, check them out. But yeah, with that is all the jobs done that I think I'm going to bother filming for the time being today. Still going to jump in and do a quick oil change and bolt check the truck. And then we've got a few more pre-trip checks that I want to do. And we may have to do something about the alternator because it started squealing again, so we'll pick this video up later on. Well, I might have lied a little bit, didn't bother filming anything else, basically just came down to the fact that a bit of a time crunch on and it wasn't particularly exciting, so I just got in and got all the work done. So we've got the new plugs in, we've done a full bolt check, topped up diff oil from when we did the pinion seal, yeah, just gave the truck a good once over, and yeah, tested the winch. Basically, we're good to go. I've just finished up packing. We're heading over to the coast for this Easter, leaving work at 3 and heading straight over. So that's what you've got to look forward to for the next video. This one was a bit of a long video, bit of a different one, but I hope you guys all enjoyed a shed vlog. It has been a while since it's just been a maintenance one. Anyway, that's it from me. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below of what you think of it. How good is it that Lando's back on the channel? And yeah, make sure to hit subscribe to stay tuned for everything else we've got coming. We'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers guys, we'll see you then.